सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। We'll chant from mantra number 3. शौनको हवै महाशालः शौनको हवै महाशालः अंगिरसं विधिवत् उपसन्नपप्रच्छ अंगिरसं विधिवत् उपसन्नपप्रच्छ कस्मिन्नु भगवो विज्ञाते कस्मिन्नु भगवो विज्ञाते सर्वमिदं विज्ञातं भवतीति सर्वमिदं विज्ञातं भवतीति। तस्मै सहोवाच द्वे विद्ये वेदितव्ये इति द्वे विद्ये वेदितव्ये इति हस्म हस्म यद्ब्रह्मविदो वदन्ति पराचैव अपराच तत्र ऋग्वेदो यजुर्वेदो सामवेदो अथर्ववेदः तत्र ऋग्वेदो यजुर्वेदो सामवेदो अथर्ववेदः। शिक्षा कल्पो व्याकरणं निरुक्तं छन्दो ज्योतिषमिति शिक्षा कल्पो व्याकरणं निरुक्तं छन्दो ज्योतिषमिति। अथ परा यया तदक्षरम् अधिगम्यते अथ परा यया तदक्षरम् अधिगम्यते। Last week we saw that Shaunak Rishi asked his teacher, what is it knowing which everything as well becomes known? And in reply to the question, teacher said, two types of knowledge one should acquire in a human birth. Twofold knowledge, technically called para and another called apara. In modern times, we'll explain it in a modern context. I will explain apara further. But before talking about paravidya, teacher enumerates the list of aparavidya and then says, that is para by which you know aksharam, and having known aksharam, you know everything as though. What is apara? It says Rigvedaha, Yajurvedaha, Samaveda, Atharva Veda. All the four Vedas and 6 Vedangas, the limbs, as though you can say satellite knowledge, which is necessary when you have Vedic knowledge. That is Shiksha, Kalpaha, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chandaha, Jyotish. I had explained all these words, and we were yet to look at the last word called Jyotish. Please understand what we call in modern days astrology is. You may find 2 types of people in the society, or you may say 3. One who would go by astrology or Jyotisham for everything. Before stepping out of the house, they will look at the Murtam. Before doing anything, they will look at some Vidhi and some astrological chart and then do karma. And some may say, I just don't believe in it. And the third category, well, it's a typical American. Well, I don't know. I'm not interested. Please understand what is the place of Jyotisham in our life. If I ask you one simple definition, what is science? Whatever may be the discipline, how do you define science? The scientists have different definitions. But I have one simple definition, which applies to any discipline of knowledge available today and to come in future also. Like electronics was not there 50 years ago. Communication was not there 100 years ago. This science, whole digital technology. Or 5G was not there 2 decades ago. Any science is nothing but understanding of cause-effect relationship. Science is what? Understanding about the cause-effect relationship in a given discipline. A physicist deals with the particles. He tries to understand the nature, what caused this and what will be the effect of. And the possibilities are collapsed and you create a third thing. That is what the digital technology is. One thing you should know, there is a beautiful word they have in English also. Any law that becomes known to humanity, they never say such and such a scientist formed or created the law. The word is they discovered. Cover, discover. There was a covering of ignorance, not that you create. Einstein did not create any law, neither Stephen Hawking, nor even Newton. He just discovered the law of gravitation. Simple. And they are exploiting the possibility by using the potentials in a given law or given laws and create something third. But that is also there. That potential is not put by the scientist. It is given. Correct? Like our body. Whenever there is a disease, they first try to identify what is the cause. Which bacteria caused this? They identify. Let's take a good simple example of malaria. They will say malarial parasites have caused this effect, fever and rigor and all that. Then what they do? In the laboratory, they apply certain chemicals. That which chemical will kill that fellows. So then that chemicals becomes a cause to kill the bacteria, which itself was a cause for rigor. And then with different permutations and combinations, first of all, they inject those bacteria into rat onwards, rat and cat, and ultimately they go to monkeys and they call it clinical trials. Swamiji used to say, what works with monkey will work with human being. Some of them are mentally also like that. So it works. So monkey, then human trial, they are studying cause effect. And therefore in a given medicine, in a small letter, they will write, this medicine also can cause blood pressure. This may affect the kidney, like that. It's a cause effect. This will kill this, that is caused by this. And as they say in medical science, there is a wonder drug to discoveries called penicillin. It's called wonder drug, which was accidental. And second is antibiotic. Anything is there, they give antibiotic. Similarly, listen this carefully. In medical science, there is a word which is a wonder word. You know what? If you have fever or some throat problem, anything, they will say it is virus. You know what does virus mean? We don't know that it is virus. And they have antibiotic to kill the bugs. But then they don't stop. They do research. What caused this? My point is this. A scientist of any given discipline is trying to discover a cause or trying to discover an effect. Correct? That means he assumes, not assumes, he has a knowledge. It's not a belief that everything is caused. પોરબંદરની ભાષામાં કહે ને પેલા આપણા મેર ખારવાની ભાષા એની મેરે there is nothing mere. Why is it just no, there is nothing like that. Whole creation is in order. Humanity may not know there is a problem of global warming or even simple cancer, we don't know, but they keep doing research knowing fully well there has to be cost. That is a cause. There is nothing uncaused. Even a tree in a desert, Sahara desert, if you do a research, it is caused. Having a water in those areas where water table is so low and water is high, salty with a lot of salt, then potable water you get it in middle is somewhere, there is a cause. Volcano is caused. There is nothing uncaused. And we have seen earlier, everything is in order. That being a case, my existence as of now is also caused. There is a cause. The particle is governed by the law of physics. The plant kingdom is governed by the law of botany. Animal kingdom is governed by the law of zoology. Mechanical laws, civil laws. Our existence of a conscious being is caused by law of dharma or law of karma. My own karmas have caused this existence. What I am today, where I am today, how I am today is caused. And nothing is without effect. Even last time I told you, even this particular event of my taking a class, there are infinite factors that has contributed in causing this. beginning from those radio valves. First, somebody and beginning from electricity, Edison, Thomas, that electricity and radio valves and transistors and then chip and then first generation and second generation and 4G and 5G and then Apple and companies discovering these computers and Wi-Fi being available and Reliance having those Wi-Fi internet. So many, endless. This event that you can see me on the screen. And that Steve Jobs did not study. That is also caused this because he learned calligraphy and that helped him in designing the Apple alphabets and all. It's a cost. And that he went to such an university was cost. Though he had a mother, but he was put into orphanage. And if you look at the story, some lawyer couple came to adopt him. They decided next day he was to be taken away in the paperwork. Suddenly the lady changed. I don't want a boy baby. I want a baby girl. Poor fellow was left. His mother putting a condition because she became a mother while in school. And she said to that orphanage that you should give my baby to only those parents who are minimum graduate. Because of the baby she couldn't do. And then a couple who decided to adopt him were not graduate, then they negotiated and they promised the mother, we will teach him, and they burned, they burned all the savings to put him in a very good university. And he didn't study. That is also cause for Apple, which I am using this a computer as of now. That too, I happened to be somewhere and that boy's parents had money to buy him. And that too, Corona also caused because he was supposed to go to Canada, but because of Corona, he is hanging around. And every event is caused by infinite factors. No one else than Ishvara can know it. Gahana karmano gatihi, Ishvara himself tells in Gita. So also, whatever I do now is a cause of something. It has nth effect. It is like throwing a big stone in a pool of water which has no ripples. It creates ripples of enlarging circles and circles in all directions. You don't know. That law of dharma or law of karma and karma phala was revealed to rishis by Bhagavan. That is astrology or Jyotish. And that Jyotisham can give you brief outline of the events to come into your life. Sometimes it may be true totally. Sometimes it may not be true. However, erudite scholar or successful astrologer may be for two reasons. It is a karma phala. So you, before you went to astrologer, you might have done some karmas which may fructify in this life itself and which may affect what was there at the time of birth, at the destiny. And others also do karma for you. A typical Indian example, when the parents go somewhere else, they pray to Bhagavan for the children. It is writing a credit, it is like transferring the money into someone's account. The fellow says, I have not deposited this money, this punyam into my account, but parent happens to be Shani Singapur or some Sai Baba or some Shiva temple, and they saw puja list, they said, do it in the name of my son or a daughter. So you don't know. That astrologer may not know that his parents have done this. His uncles have done it. Or child's grandmother or father, while doing prayer, they may be praying for the children. It's a karma. Prayer is also a karma, which gives punyam. So you don't know. Secondly, one thing you should keep in mind. Since it's a part of Vedanga. Veda is revealed by Bhagavan. Jyotisham was revealed by Bhagavan to rishis. Therefore, it is Satyam. Please listen this word. Astrologer can be wrong, not astrology. Jyotishi can be wrong. You happen to consult 2, 3 and they say nothing came out. They say it is all humbug. No. And second reason, as I said, why astrologer can be wrong. After all, he or she is a human being. He may err. However successful the doctor may be, world renowned in heart surgery, so he may fail sometime. Even the Don Breadman could not complete his average 200. Last match he got out. So you can make mistakes. It's a human to err. Have Shraddha that it is true. And second point which I want to tell you on a side remark about Ayurveda also. All these Vidyas which Vedikas, Ved Vidyas are beyond the comprehension of human intellect. What we call it as Apaurushaya Gnana. There is a fashion nowadays to prove that Vedas are scientific. Nonsense. By saying that you are belittling the Veda, I am saying it is beyond science. Science is within the comprehension of human intellect. Your human body can know that you can never ever know. That is a knowledge, and that is why you require Bhagavan. Otherwise, you know by yourself. Bhagavan did not come and tell you fire is hot. I can make out myself. If Bhagavan comes and tells something, they tell only when they know that you cannot make it up. Every parents give certain advice to or talk to the children when they go to hostels after the school. If they know, then they need not. What the mother said to a daughter or father said to daughter or son when he went to university, he may not tell when that fellow is 50 and his son is going to hostels or dome. Because he knows it. But parent knows that child cannot comprehend at this age certain things. So you have to be told. Of course, every children would feel that we know everything. That's another problem. Our parents don't know anything. We are the wisest person available on the earth. At least in this family, I am the most wise. Father is foolish, mother is chak, all the time talking, blabbering. She doesn't know when to talk, what not to talk. Grandpas are old, they don't know. That is our thinking. That's their problem. That's age hormonal problem, I would say. But even the parents has to tell something which children cannot comprehend. When Bhagavan himself reveals, it is Apurusha. I had mentioned the sloka. Pratyakshena anumityava yastu upayo na vidyate tad vindate vedena tasmat vedasya vedata. The meaning is what you cannot comprehend through your intellect, that alone is revealed in Veda. Therefore, Veda is Veda. That being a case, this Jyotisham necessitates certain upasanas. That is also opposed. You chant this mantra and this will happen. Jyotishi himself or herself has to do certain upasanas. And that applies to Ayurveda as well. You cannot say, take this Ayurvedic tablet, your throat will be all right. Take this, your fever will go. It doesn't work that way. That is comprehensible by human intellect. That beyond mantra shakti, what we call it. And in absence of that, reading the books and surrendering to Ma Google with Shraddha, there are modern homeopaths and modern Jyotishis. That doesn't work. Now, what should be our attitude? That also you should know. You just can't go all the time by astrology. No. Even if there is a lot of punya involved that you will become a billionaire, blah, anything is there, you can't wait for it. Bhagavan has given you hands. That Bhagavan has given you brain. That means human being is bestowed with Kriya Shakti. You have to do Kriya. That is to be tapped. In other words, we have to be Purusharthavadi, not Prarabdhavadi. Prarabdha may unfold, but you have to work. Nahi suptasya simhasya mukhe pravishanti mrugaha. Even lion has to work. The animals don't come, please eat, sir. I'll be obliged if you eat me away. He has to strive. It is to be tapped. Unless extremely strong prarabdha where you just get it, otherwise you have to tap it. Like you tap the water under tap. You have to tap it. Similarly, it is to be tapped. We have to be Purushartha Lakshi, not in Prarabdha Lakshi, and the life is play of both the things. But that one, Prarabdha, is unknown. Some outlines are known. They can't tell you all the details. They may say, you have to be careful, this month is heavy, a typical Gujarati Bharat. This kala is against you. So you may get into what problem the fellow may say. Then they may say, looks like financial issues, looks like health issues, looks like family issues, but he cannot say family means your wife will be a problem. Because he knows it is like this fellow doctor asked them, one guy, do you play with looking at his pressure and thing like that, heart, he went for a heart checkup. Do you play all dangerous games? He says, yes, sir, I often disagree with my wife. So that's my bad habit, he said. I don't agree all the time with my wife. But sometimes they are helpless. It is strangulating also. That is also a fact, okay? Let's be objective. Coming back to, sometimes vice versa is also true. Those people, some people always want to be in a driver's seat. They want to get every instruction and everything they want to control. Maybe office issues problem, office hangover, habit hangover, So both problems are there. I'm just a joke, enjoy, forget it. Coming back to this, we have to work and let that unfold. That being a karma phala, there is an antidote karma. Like we do this. Suppose you had, winter you went out for some party or something and you feel uneasy, because today I happen to drink or eat some cold food, I may get tomorrow some cough or cold. Then you start medication from the previous night itself. You know your biological symptoms, anatomy, you have some insight into your system. You tell this. Like on the highways, they tell you, toll booth 1,000 meters away. Then if the road is, you're traveling on a wide road and a short road, they tell you that it is becoming 2-lane or something. Or even the Google tells now, there is a traffic congestion after 600 meters. Turn right after 500 meters. That's very interesting. Our Indians, they put this in the Google, but when they come near, they discover, no, I know the way now. So they take shortcuts. It has asked you to turn right, the fellow will go straight. And the Google, Indian Google don't say this. American Google tells this, at least Canada, recalculating. By the time she has finished recalculation and she tells, after 300 meters, take again right, the fellow takes again. the Google keeps recalculating. And they said it is good that the Google is not available in Indian language. If it is Gujarati, she would shout, Alat gadheda su kota kare, Sanmanu kawe. And Indian Google also can tell you. There is a one that a fellow may come from the west and be like, there are two boards, and then he may not go on a wrong side or one way. Google from India would shout, Jana dayo the agar kasu police pakadto hat. Nanos one match. Gusja. She will stop. Anyway, coming back to this, that is, there is a saying in English, forewarned is forearmed. So you're warned about it. Be ready. Some people listening to astrology get into depression also. That is what it is. It's a fact. Face it out and go out of it. There's a traffic jam. Then you can't complaining and wailing, oh, a Google shows after 10 kilometers traffic jam, It is going to be there and you will be delayed for 15 minutes or 2 hours or whatever it is. Face it out. It's just to help you. One. Now, we proceed further. When it says all this, all the Vedas and all Vedangas, now there is a question. If that is Aparavidya, that Aparavidya is something which, okay, let me finish one more point also. Please note, this alone is not Aparavidya. It is so many millennia before the Bharatiyas had this body of knowledge, so they called it Apara. But this physics and electronics and medicine is also Aparavidya today. Any discipline of knowledge which cannot reveal Param Brahma is Apara. We have seen earlier Shlok Mantra. Any discipline of knowledge which cannot reveal Param is called Aparavidya. So all disciplines of knowledge are Apara. Available today, available in the past, and that would be new discoveries in future. You don't know. Before, when I was young, a toddler or primary child going school, I never imagined that there will be 5th generation computers. I still remember when in 90s I happened to read one article. Be your own postman. Somebody had written, and in Times of India, some article came those days. And I read, and it said, you write a letter, and very next minute it reaches them. In those days in India, sometimes when people write a letter that I will reach to you after 4 days, letter will reach after the fellow has arrived. And remember, again, there was a typical style of writing, when especially from Gujarat, when they go to Bombay, they have to write to, telephones were not there so available in India. So they write a postcard or inlet, and then the whole family was a joint family. So half of the space is gone in address, Param Puja grandfather and grandmother and auntie and uncle and daddy and mommy and my brother, etc. And Jat Malam Thai Ke, Pranam Sadhe Jana, Abid Pranam, I have to inform you that I have reached Bombay safely. Uncle had come to pick me up at the railway station and we have reached there, blah, blah, blah. Nothing, just informing that I reached. And he gave this letter to his cousin to post, and cousin didn't post the same day, next day or after 1 day. After a week, when he reached back, they all shouted at him, why didn't you write a letter? We were concerned and worrying about you, and etc. The letter reaches to them after 2 days. So, and we had one very popular novel, The Postman, Dhumketu. The person waiting for a letter from his family kin. The whole novel, it was a beautiful novel. So I was so amused. I remember it. My mind was like a child, like I wonder, how can I be my postman? How can I type and write and that I had never seen computer also. It was somewhere in 82 or 84, I don't remember that. Somebody had written. So I said, what is computer? You write and it reaches the person within next minute. It was something wonderful. You can't imagine. There are so many vidyas you can't even imagine. That is why Bhagavan is Sarvagna. To say all, you don't know the meaning of all. It can be anything. So any discipline of knowledge available, past, present, future is all apara, which does not reveal Param Brahman. Now, in this connection, one thing you should know, and another I have a question which I'll answer it also. Our attitude. People generally have seen Mahatmas also and some modern teachers talking this. The Brahma Vidya is Paravidya and all other discipline, secular knowledge is Aparavidya. There is no secular for us. For Hindu, there is no secular knowledge and there is nothing secular. And Swamiji would say, for Hindu, there is nothing secular except the government of India. that has to be secular by constitution, by default. Even though the Prime Minister may not want to be. But he is choiceless. Even the party may not want to be. Why? Listen. This will not answer, but will explain you a typical attitude, unique attitude of typical Indian. Our schools, our center of learning, those who grew up in India and who come to India, they know many of them have named Mandiram, temple. Temple means where Bhagavad Puja is done. But the school also has said, Saraswati Shishu Mandir, Sharda Mandir, Jnana Vidya Mandir. Mandir is there in educational center. You know why? If it were secular, history, geography, why should you call it Mandir? It is not there. And not only Mandir we call, I grew up in a tradition where we had to conduct ourselves as though going to temple. In my primary section, I remember the schools where we had to leave the shoes outside the classroom. And the book, if it falls down, we seek pardon and do pranam. And the teacher also we respect. You know why? Listen this. In a temple, when a priest does the arti, traditionally the sanctum sanctorium called Garbha Griha is all dark. And the idol, the murti, should be granite, stone. Not marbles, which are very prevalent in north of India. Marble is a very soft stone, chemical. So, if you do abhishek, panchamrita or lemon or something, it will precipitate. So, After 1 year, you may lose the eye of the Bhagwan because lemon water is going. Like that Baroda, we had Nyaya Mandir Jhatpat studio. There was one studio wala. That only wooden body of the car from this side, one side picture, and they will put you to sit on a stool. It will look as though you're driving a car, but there is no car. In those days, people did a car. They will hold the telephone, but there was no connection. It was just a rope. And that studio in those days used to deliver hard copy within 1 day. So it was Jhatpat means in Gujarati means quick studio. Emergency, you go there. But somehow, in absence of proper technology, that black and white picture will be all right for that day. After 6 months, it will be plain white paper. Something slowly it will evaporate. So when we were in university, the identity card, when you have to make it and submit our photos, the clerk used to ask, where from did you get the picture? It is from Jhatpat studio, go and bring the bill. Because after 6 months, the picture is not there. So how to identify a student who has done some mischief? coming back to that Jhatpat business anyway. So in that this marble looks good, but they don't do puja. And they do puja, abhishekam and all that, it will even vanish. It has to be stone, preferably granite. So all old temples, 300, 400 years old, especially in south, they are there. You will find all the murtis of black granite, and the room is dark. Unfortunately, the priest is also of the matching color. And they don't wear anything on the top. They don't wear anything on the top. That part is also matching. And the dhoti is white, but they have folded it out half. So that legs are also matching. And whatever is covered with the oil wick and all that is also black. So you come from light and glaze and you go in, you don't see anything. Except when he opens the mouth, some teeth you can see. You don't know this. So they do arti. Listen now carefully. They perform arti. In that light of arti, they reveal the Bhagavan which is there, which you didn't see. You cannot see that. The priest, as though, reveals the Bhagavan, which is in the form of a murti, prana pratishtha murti. Correct? So we respect priest also. We do namaskara to him also. And it is expected that he lives a life of discipline and tapas. Now, anything in absolute nature is called Swarupa. Sweetness is there in absoluteness in sugar. So we call it as sugar Swarupa. The nature of sugar is sweet. Nothing but sweet, 100%. That's the nature. Ishvara is, the sugar is all sweet. Ishvara is all knowledge. So we call him as a Gnana Swarupa. Chaitanya Swarupa. The Guru in the temple, priest reveals Bhagavan, Murti Swarupa Bhagavan by lighting the camphor, which they do, or the ghee, when cotton and the ghee wicks. The Guru, the teacher in the class, lights the arti of teaching and reveals the knowledge. Teaching takes place through words. And the student sees the thing. Therefore, in English there is a word of, oh, now I see. Now I understand. Any knowledge is Ishvara because Ishvara is Gnan Swarupa. Understand? Ishvara being all knowledge, anyone teaching anything is unfolding Ishvara. Maybe a part. He being whole, part of him is revealed. And where Ishvara is revealed is a temple. So school is also temple. And as much respect you give to a priest, we give the same respect to teacher. He is not one of the human being. We address them respectfully because they reveal Ishvara, but which Ishvara? Not Murti Rupena, Gnapti Rupena. That being the case, for us, every discipline of knowledge is sacred, not secular. Therefore, history teacher was also respected by us. Even though you may not like the history, Indian history. I still remember in a history paper those days, they always asked, when, in which year Akbar was born? Or Humayun was, Aurangzeb was born. I always had a feeling, I wish he was not born at all. When did the Babur put his first leg in Indian soil? I always think, what you don't like to read. But it was sacred. There is not only history, any discipline is sacred, and the whole creation is manifestation of Ishvara. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. Everything is sacred for us. Rivers are sacred, mountains are sacred, buffalo is sacred, cows are sacred, even the rat is sacred. We look upon it as a manifestation of Ishvara. Therefore, we say, for Hindu, there is no secular except the government. Home is sacred. Therefore, we have this Homa, Vastu Puja. And at the end of the Vastu Puja, sprinkle waters and Bimantrita Jalam, that let Ishvara reside in this house and then I come. Car is sacred, even rickshaw is sacred. That fellow will do puja like this in a crude way. Rickshaw wala will do. Even tea, chai wala will pour one cup of tea on the road. There is sacredness. For Hindu, everything is sacred. So, now the question is, if Veda is Apara, Upanishad is in a Veda, so Upanishad also becomes Apara. Then why should we study Upanishad when we want Brahmagnan? One. Secondly, there is a very popular saying. There is a verse. Let me see if I have written here. Yeah, Shankaracharya quotes there. Ya Veda Bahyaha Smrutayaha iti drashta smaranti kudrashtitvat nishfalatvat anadaya. Yascha kascha Veda Bahyaha, anything which is not in concomitance, not in alignment with the Vedic vision, anything which is not in keeping with the Vedas should be discarded for moksha, not otherwise. Because it is a distorted vision. That means if this Upanishad is a part of Veda and Veda is Apara, anything outside Veda is distorted, then why should I study? Please understand. Shankaracharya raises a question in the Bhashya. If Vedas are Apara, so Upanishad becomes Apara. And if you say Upanishad is outside Veda, then they become distorted vision and has to be discarded. Any which way, I don't get Paravidya. Any which way, I cannot get moksha if that is true. Yes, but you have to understand what is apara, what does it mean by apara? On the other hand, we say Vedanto Nama Upanishad Pramanam. Upanishad is a means of knowledge for knowing yourself. And how can it be apara then? Understand this. When we say it is apara, is true. And when we say it is para, is true. How? Mere mantras or Gitaji, mere shlokas, if you know that, that is apara. But you have to see the meaning through and through. That seeing the meaning is para. But simply Shabda Gnanam is apara. Like even, most of you have exposure to us and that our Puja Swami used to know this. Whenever they do Aarti, they chant Taittiriya mantras. You know, Natatra Suryo Bhati Narendra Tarakam Nema Vidyuto Bhanti Kudoyam Agni, etc., etc. But they don't know, those Panditas don't know the meaning of this. The fellow may rattle out the whole Vedas because he has memorized. He knows how to use mantra in which karma kanda, but you should know this mantra means I am Ananda. Or even, there is a popular story. One fellow went to Guru and then after 3-4 months he took off and 3-4 months he came. 1 month he came and he was a little haughty. Guru understood something has gone into him. And this you are teaching Gita ji, some of the shlokas you know, but I don't know. I know whole Gita, 700 shlokas. And I can chant in a reverse order also. Like, if you know, a second chapter, Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nainam Prapi Mudya Stasya Antakale Vimuchit, like reverse order. Forward, backward, I can do that. Guruji said, how much time did it take? 1 month. He says, its value is 4 annas. Those days, Gita Press book was available in 4. or a typical Indian advertisements about the sad device of my great father. If he had started a company, corporate expense, you know, they put a half-page advertisement. And they write, Nayanam Chindanti Shastra. Na jayate mriyatava. It is never born and never dies, and Atma is immortal. And then, having come across some fellows, fathers like that, I happened to pass by, met him, and he hugged me and started going, Swamiji, Father went, Bapuji went. Oh, idiot, you gave such a big advertisement that Atma never dies. I thought you are an enlightened person. So writing this is apara. This is the disadvantage of, there are so many advantages, but this is a disadvantage of growing in India. Some of the shlokas everybody knows. Vasam jirnani yatha. Where you don't know the shloka, you know the meaning. Just as you give up the clothes, Atma gives up the body. Everybody knows. That's Shabda Gnanam is apara. And that cognition taking place out of those words. And technical word is that vritti. Brahmakar vritti, when it takes place, then it is para. Till then everything is apara. And for that vritti to take place, that cognition to take place, you need to have a teacher who can handle the words, who knows what to talk and what not to talk. To inspire somebody is one thing, motivational. Nowadays, they are all motivational guys. And there is a very popular belief you can achieve whatever it is. Everybody talk, you work and so fellow worked and they achieved. But how many did not achieve? That statistics also you please tell. It doesn't work that way. But to communicate something is altogether different. One has to have a teacher and has to have a proper attitude towards teacher. Then it will make sense. And to have that attitude, one has to have some psychological infrastructure in terms of sadhana chatushtayam. Then this will work. Otherwise, Vivek Chudamani says, Shabdajalam Maharanyam. There are so many erudite scholars who can quote left and right. There are PhDs in Gita and Upanishads. Whether you are a PhD or non-graduate or not even schooling, what counts is, can you see the meaning of this word as I? That becomes Paramatmananda. Understand? Therefore, Shankaracharya Angirasa Rishi tells Shaunaka, next half of the mantra, Yaya tadaksharam adhigamyate, that is para. Aksharam, akshaya, naksharati, that which never decays, that which never disintegrates, that which never changes is akshara. And that changeless vastu has to be beyond time. That's eternal. That means that which is satyam is paravidya. The knowledge, the vidya, the discipline of knowledge which reveals satyam, the truth, that is you, that is paravidya. That reveals that you are changeless, that reveals therefore you are birthless and deathless, that reveals that you are purna, ananda, that is paravidya. Aksharam adhigamyate. Adhipurvasya gatehe. Adhigamyate means that which to know, that which helps you to know, that which unfolds you, that makes you see this fact, which is not something of a matter of imagination, that fact that you are limitless, the fact that you are Ananda, the fact that you are Satyam, fact that you are changeless, fact that you are free from birth and death, that body of knowledge which makes me to see this and own this up is called Paravidya, and that happens to be Upanishad. So Upanishad is both in a way apara, if you don't know the meaning of it, and if you know the meaning, it becomes para. That applies to entire Paravidya. Brahma Sutra also is apara and para. Gita is also para apara. Every Shastra is apara apara. Tattvabodha is also apara and para. Upadesharam is also para and apara. You have to see that meaning. Then having said this, he reveals what is that action. Very important aspect and a very unique aspect. As a Hindu or as a student of Vedanta, one thing you should know. I'll elaborate. It will take 3-4 lectures. See, we just stand out. I have met so many leaders of so many religions across the globe when I go to these conferences. All of them say this: we believe in one God. But the problem is, my God is God, your God is not God. That each one tells to other. If you are believing in one God, then where is your God and my God? There is only one God. Two guys. So there is a basic fallacy. And all of them say this: God sitting somewhere. This we agree. We also say the same. What? Ishvara is Sarva Shaktiman, omnipotent. Bhagavan is Sarvagna, omniscient. They also say, Lord in heaven is omniscient, he knows everything. Of course, with CCTV cameras, and our God can see without CCTV cameras. That's little difference, but that's okay, that's a debatable. And they say the God is sitting there. We also say that. But ours is different. We don't say that available alone is God. He is everywhere, but now available in this form. Only Hindu says God is everywhere. That's only Veda vision. Whole creation is his manifestation. No one says. Isha Vasyam idam. Sarvam khalvidam brahma nehananasti kincha. There is nothing away from him. And that is, even all our vernacular poets also say the same thing. Since Gujarati happens to be my mother tongue, there is a very popular bhajan, Akhila Brahmandama Ekatu Shri Jujve Rupe Ananta. All the forms. You appear in many forms, but you are non-dual. That I have verified, though I don't remember. In Tamil is there. Haryanvi also is there. In Bengali also bhajan. No one says. And therefore, since creation is manifestation in a way of Ishvara, it is not separate from Ishvara. For us, creation is pujya, not bhogya. That thing is unfolded. That thing is revealed in next two mantras, very profound, which we shall see from tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Namaha. Harihi Om.